Welcome to the February 6th issue of Almost Timely News. Let's get into what's on my mind. This week, two advancements in applied artificial intelligence for marketers. Well, I mean, for pretty much anybody, but these technology advancements are applicable to marketing. These two recent advancements in AI have really impressed me in recent days. First, let's talk about natural language generation. For about a year and a half, I've been using the GPT-J6B model, that's a mouthful, from Eleuthera AI for generating text. It's a powerful model that creates coherent, readable text given a prompt. You give it a starting sentence or a starting paragraph, and it creates text. This past week, Eleuthera released their newest model, the even bigger mouthful, GPT Neo X20B. This model is more than 3 times the size and capability than the previous model. It does very well on a bunch of technical benchmarks, but the real question is, how well does it write compared to prior models? The answer is really well, like really, really well. It's still constrained by the text that it's trained on, so it's never going to generate works that are above and beyond that training data, but it's getting much better at generating content similar to what's in the training data set. So press releases, it's got those down now. News articles, corporate boilerplate, all these types of content, because there's so much of it, are now well within its capabilities, at least for generating really solid first drafts. Let's look at some quick examples. So a press release prompt. I'm going to make one up entirely, and we'll see what the machines write. So we have this one here. For immediate release, Boston, Massachusetts, Trust Insights Incorporated, a management consulting and analytics firm based in Boston, is pleased to announce its newest product line, the Marketing Analysis Pack. The Marketing Analysis Pack provides forward-thinking companies with key analytics and I'm going to fall asleep reading this, right? It's a press release. So you can clearly see it's a press release. I stopped it at the first word in the CEO quote. Now, I'm not going to read these out loud because I will fall asleep. You will fall asleep too. So I'm just going to put this up, and of course, you can read the full text in the newsletter. Here's what the J6B model created, right? It has starts with the CEO quote. We're excited to launch blah 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 blah, right? And then it starts going into these 4 modules, the lead management module and stuff like that. Now, bear in mind, this doesn't exist yet. So the machine is just making this up based on what it knows. And it's not bad, right? When you look at this, that's not bad. Now, let's see what the new model came up with, right? So the new model here, you have, we're excited about the opportunity to provide marketing teams with, the usual stuff, boilerplate, more stuff, and some cool features like a dashboard that can allow users to track and view data, Google, Facebook, etc. Again, both models spit out usable content, especially for a press release, right? The 6B model, you can tell, is clearly cribbing from some other product or service, though I couldn't tell you what. The 20B model seems to be writing more original text, though it's still cribbing from somewhere, as evidenced by the fact that it's throwing in dates from like 2019 to 2020, right? But it really does a great job of capturing the boring, bland tone of a press release and the CEO quote. That's pretty impressive, right? It's not good enough to write completely original content or to start with 2 words as a minimal prompt. I needed to provide it that full starting paragraph to establish context, but then the model went off and did its thing, and it did it really well. It's definitely good enough for saving you a lot of time on first drafts, especially the 20B model. Now, that said, neither of these press releases are factually correct, right? If we're going to use this, we'd have to rewrite those portions for what the analysis pack actually is. But on balance, this is terrific writing for a machine. Right, so that's the first tool of note. In terms of availability and market, the models are available for download. You do need to have some technical skill to actually make use of them. Now, the second one is a fully commercial in-market tool called DeepL. So you can go to and buy it today. In my work and experimentation with newer social networks like Discord, for example, one of the persistent issues I've run into is that there are a lot of people on the planet who don't speak my language, right? I don't speak theirs. And over the years, tools like Google Translate have evolved our translation skills so that we can be understood by others in their language. But there's always room for improvement, right? And that's what DeepL is. It's an improvement. It supports far fewer languages than Google does, probably I think about a dozen and a half compared to Google's 106. But it does a better job of converting that language into something not only readable, but understandable, really capturing the flavor and nuance of what the writer probably intended. Let's take a look at this short passage of fiction by Danish author Lena Jensen. So I'm going to put this up on screen because I can't read Danish. Right? I chose fiction, and this passage in particular, because it's much more colloquial than formal business writing. Right? This character's speech is very much how like a regular person would speak or write. So if you were communicating, say, in an email to somebody, this is probably the tone that they would take. So let's see how the machines did. First, here's Google Translate, right? And it starts out, but you must know that everything I said to you was what I meant. I was always honest with you. And you can see the rest of this passage here. This is readable. This is readable. This is understandable. I can understand what's being said. But you can see it's a little stiff. It says, but you cannot associate with me either. Right? Now let's switch it up. Here's the DeepL version. But I want you to know that everything I said to you is what I meant. I was always honest with you, perhaps even more than I was myself at times. And go further down into this passage. Instead of saying, but you cannot associate with me either, it says, but you can't be around me either. Right? That's a lot more natural. That you can tell that's probably how the author would have said that in an email. So we see that the DeepL output, the model produces output which is less stilted, less overly formal. Both produce good, understandable text, but DeepL really captures the conversational nuance. It's more how the author's character in this piece meant to sound, and probably did sound if you read it in Danish, which I can't read. So what's the takeaway here? What's the point of all this? These two language tasks, language creation and language translation, are tasks that we have to do often depending on our line of work. And in the past, like we're talking like 5 years ago, both tasks had been attempted by AI and with not great results. Right? 5 years ago, you might have gotten word salad back on some of this stuff. Then about 4 or 5 years ago, advances in neural networks and deep learning brought these tasks from not great, right, to mediocre, to not bad, and now we're at a point where they're pretty good, right? You don't need to be a data scientist to realize the trajectory of improvement here is substantial and in a really short period of time. So this means two things for you and me. First, you should be evaluating AI solutions for very specific, narrow tasks in your organization and deploying AI to fulfill those tasks as rapidly as possible. If, for example, you crank out press releases, AI should be doing your first drafts now, right? Not the final product, but the first draft. Boom, have a machine do it. You write the starting paragraph, let the machine fill in the rest, give it some guardrails, and it can be cranking out those first drafts. If you make captions for a video in different language markets, AI should be doing all those translations, right? No doubt about it. AI should be doing the closed captions. Now, I did a video recently for a friend in French, and they said the translation was spot on, which helped them understand what I was saying, because I was speaking in English, but I gave them French subtitles so that, because I have a tendency to talk fast, they could understand what I was saying. For fun, in this video, I put Spanish captions in, just as an example. Is the language translation perfect? No. Is it usable? Absolutely. Second, these tools open doors. That's a really, really important point. If you have friends you've met online or at in-person events and your language isn't their native language, you now have a way to communicate with them a little more easily. Now, it's not going to be via voice in real time. But you absolutely can hold a chat conversation in many of the common languages spoken on this planet without needing to speak it and still be understood. If you're working on developing a product description and you have no idea what to write about your product, AI now gives you the tools to do the first draft. Like this marketing analysis pack I talked about. It exists, but we haven't gotten around to building the marketing for it yet. Right? So these fake press releases that AI generated have actually given me a good first draft, a good starting point for how we might want to actually talk about them, right? It's like breaking writer's block. I don't know what to write. Great. Throw it to the machine, see what it writes. And then I can go into editing mode and go, that's not how I would say that. And suddenly I'm over my writer's block. AI is kind of like a superpower. With nothing more than apps that you can run on your phone or desktop computer, you can do more. You can create more. You can learn more. You can communicate more. You can exceed your limits as a person. Right? I can't read Danish, but AI can. And now this person's fiction that was inaccessible to me suddenly is something I can enjoy. Right? I can't write an entire press release in 30 seconds. I mean, I could have my face rolled on the keyboard, but AI can. With these powers, we can dramatically increase what we're capable of as people. That's pretty darn cool. In the rest of the newsletter this week, we've got a whole bunch of stuff. I've got a video piece from earlier this week on dedication and consistency. If you get a chance, please go check that out. There's a link in the newsletter because it's an important piece on what we tell our audiences through our actions as marketers and content producers. Also got some stuff on GDPR and email, content marketing strategy. And then in the news, we have stuff like LinkedIn image size cheat sheets. We have creating content for every stage in the buyer's journey, Shopify SEO guides, privacy preserving machine learning, R programming concepts, and of course some stuff about Palantir at IBM. So lots to check out. Thanks for watching or listening or reading the newsletter, however you choose to enjoy it each week. And I appreciate your attention. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.